Yo, 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 yo. As always, good morning to you beautiful people out there that will be watching. And I guess good morning to you too, Coach.
Oh, I guess, yeah. Oh, good morning, Coach. How are we doing today?
I'm good. I'm just fucking with you. I want the audience to take a second. I know you guys are looking, and normally you have me and Coach just up here vibing doing our thing, but we have a special guest with us today on our episode. What episode is this, Coach?
19, Coach.
19. And we have our special guest here today. And what can we say about this guest? He's a great guy, wonderful person. Definitely brought a lot of laughs and a lot of very nervous moments as coaches.
Yeah.
He's clearly one of our favorite guys from our team and time at Universal as coaches, and we just want to thank our wonderful player JJ for showing up with us today
Thank you
for
for
this
having
wonderful
me.
episode. How are you feeling today, JJ?
Well, not the best.
Not the best.
As you could tell for the past.
Not the best. Well, as always, you know, normally we do things where you guys are accustomed to us coming in, kind of warming things up, getting a few segments out the way and playing our game. But today, there have been a lot of things that have been going on since our last episode, from the NFL to the NBA. And we really want to take this episode, especially because we have a guest with us today, to kind of get right into some things. So you know how we do. Outside of playing our favorite game of who's cooking and who should stay the fuck out the kitchen, we're going to get right into the halftime report. All right. So right off the top, we woke up on, I believe that was a Sunday, right?
Sunday.
Yeah.
Midday
Yeah.
Sunday, or late evening Sunday.
It was Saturday. It was
Saturday
night.
It was Saturday night going into
Saturday night.
Sunday.
Okay, so Saturday night going into Sunday. So we wake up on a Sunday, but we go into a Saturday night like normal, probably just kicking it, doing our normal routines and stuff. I was at work, and I'm talking to Coach about, you know, prepping for the show, getting ready when we're gonna meet, you know, what possible topics we're gonna talk about, and we're just kind of like, we'll go through this, we'll go through that, you know, blah blah blah. The deadline is coming up, but it looks kind of dead and dry, and then we get off the phone and say we'll talk about it on Monday when we prep the show.
Yeah.
And before we can even get ourselves off the phone, I go, Coach, do you see this shit? He goes, what? I say, Luka just got traded to LA. And he goes, shut the fuck up. That's a lie. I go, no. Look at your phone. He looks at his phone. He says, oh, fucking shit.
Yep.
And I said, yeah, shit is about to shake up in the NBA. If Luka can get traded, I don't know who the fuck else can get traded at this point.
I don't know if there's any such thing as
Nobody-
an untouchable player.
But
Nobody.
because we have our resident Dallas Maverick super fan here, we kind of wanted him to come on the show, not, you know, to talk with us about a various amount of topics, but very specifically, we wanted to get him to share his pain with the fans about how you felt when you got to your phone that Saturday evening and saw that your beloved Luka Doncic is no longer a Dallas Maverick.
So I was actually at my friend's house playing 2K.
Uh-huh.
And
you were playing with Luka, weren't you?
No. I was just watching my friends play. You know, if I was gonna play that day, like I was probably gonna play with Luka. I always play with Dallas Mavericks, but I'm just sitting down watching, and I get a text from one of my other friends. Is this real? Luka just got traded to the Lakers. So I searched up Luka Doncic on Google. I don't see anything. I'm like, this guy's tweaking.
Mm-hmm.
And then my friend gets an ESPN notification. Yo, Luka just got traded. So all my friends are Bulls fans. They always hate on the Mavs. They always hate on the Cowboys, whatever. They start getting up, taking videos of me. I'm in shock. I don't know what to do. Like, I feel paralyzed. So I escort myself to another room. And the first person I called was one of my close cousins. That's a super Maverick fan. He's shocked. I'm shocked. We don't know what to say. He's telling me a bunch of stuff. This is LeBron's fault. This is Adam Silver's fault. There's probably something going on behind the scenes with Luka. Luka doesn't like Nico Harrison, but that all got debunked in a couple days. Then I called my brother. I said, "Yo, I love you, bro." And he hit me back with, "I'm not leaving the house in 2 weeks." I was like, this guy. I was shocked. I just left. I just left my friend's house, went home, and couldn't go to sleep until 4 a.m. in the morning.
So I guess I want to ask this. I guess because I haven't. Okay, well, we'll get to that, but I want to ask you this. What does Luka mean to the Dallas Mavericks fan base? Because is it like when LeBron left Cleveland? Because I'm seeing kind of similarities to that, where like when like when LeBron left Cleveland.
It's more than that. It's more than LeBron in Cleveland. It's more than Derrick Rose on the Bulls.
Be careful.
I'm being serious.
I was about to add that.
Yeah,
is it more than Derrick Rose?
Be careful.
2018.
Be careful with the Derrick Rose comparison. It's not the same.
From
be careful.
Heaven.
He got sent from heaven.
Another foreign basketball player on the Dallas Mavericks. Right when Dirk retires, we get Luka Doncic. We knew he was going to be our guy, and he's been our guy for the past 7 years. For the past 7 years, we've been bringing players from all around the league to help this man.
Mm-hmm.
We built a whole team for him. We made it to a conference championship in 2022, I believe.
Yeah.
And now we just made it to the finals last year.
Yeah.
And you're telling me the year after you're going to trade this franchise player entering his prime? I don't understand. That's just, I just don't get it. That's why I'm saying, like, something has to go on with Adam Silver, or something in Vegas behind the scenes, like we don't get. But it's unbelievable.
So I guess my question, my second question is like, was Luka a big part of the Dallas community? Like, was he really in the community? Like,
absolutely.
Because it really feels like people are not. It doesn't feel like people like in Dallas are acting like they lost a basketball player. It's like they lost.
Have you been on social media?
Well, not necessarily just looking at what the people are saying, but it feels like they've lost a brother. It's like
yes.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's more so people are in Dallas are acting like they lost a son or they lost a brother. They lost
thing about Dallas is whoever players on the team, it's a brotherhood. That's what I noticed. Like when Jalen Brunson he walked away, that one hurt me too because I really like Jalen Brunson. When Josh Green left last season, well, not last season, this summer, Derrick Jones, that hurt me. Because this team, the Dallas Mavericks, they've been known for having a strong brotherhood with Mark Cuban. And it's not just talent on the court like you see with the Lakers, just bringing anybody and whoever to win a chip. They play with chemistry and they work together. And Nico Harrison just tarnished the Mavericks' reputation with this one move. The magnitude of this trade is tarnishing the reputations for the Mavs forever. The Mavericks are never going to be the same.
Wow. Okay.
Ever.
Interesting. Really, really interesting.
Well, then that segues into the question of like, well, who won the trade? In your opinion, Coach, who won the trade?
I think LA won the trade, man.
Who doesn't think LA won the trade?
Me. But
that's interesting.
I'll let you go first on that.
Because I think in the short-sighted view, I think it's easy to point to the Dallas Mavericks being the winner of this trade just because they do get a guy in Anthony Davis that, when healthy, could absolutely make a crazy impact and a big impact on a championship-winning roster. Also just influencing. We saw how the last final went for the Dallas Mavericks. Luka was a liability on defense. That was honestly their main their biggest weakness is that the brother did not play defense.
He led the postseason in steals.
Yeah, well, steals isn't just the one and only defensive metric used
I understand.
in the NBA.
He's not the best on defense, but his offense makes up for it.
I agree, but I guess with Nico Harrison trying to structure this team to finally win a championship this year, I guess with the addition of Anthony Davis and probably keeping Derek Lively. I'm assuming he's a young stud. When he's healthy,
And they got Daniel Gafford
well,
too.
he might be on the move. I've heard, but I doubt that they
I
do
doubt
move
they
him
trade
now.
him.
They've got all the pieces around, and they picked up a Max
Unless
Christie.
they trade Daniel Gafford for like Nikola Vucevic.
Right.
We're not for sure how they're gonna play yet. We don't know.
I mean, Max Christie played the other night, scored 14, shooting 4 for 6.
Yeah, yesterday I saw them play. They lost, but we don't know how Kyrie, Clay, and AD are gonna play on the court.
I mean,
They're
think
gonna be fine.
Because
Trust me.
these players around him, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, they were all meant for Luka Doncic.
We know that, but trust me.
I don't know.
Trust me.
You could plug and play Anthony Davis into any system. Like he's one of those universal guys that he's like water. He's like the universal solvent. You put him into anything, he will fit in just anywhere. But kind of just going back to the Lakers side of it, why I believe they won the trade is because you are getting a 25-year-old superstar, not just a basketball superstar, a global superstar. This is a guy that's known across the world, overseas, European basketball, just a global icon, so be it.
They got their franchise player.
Exactly. And the Lakers always have that somehow, some way, right? Whether it was Magic, whether it was LeBron, Shaq, Kareem, they've always had that guy that was kind of that global icon. They've got Luka now. And now, of course, they saved themselves a lot of money by making this trade as well, because Luka was due for that super max extension, almost worth $70 million a year.
It would be.
Now they save, I believe it's almost $10 million a year in a total of, like $50 million over the course of the 5-year contract.
Yeah.
So now they're only paying 60, which is like Jaylen Brown type of numbers, versus 70 being the highest paid player in the league.
This is why I'm on the side of Dallas winning this trade. So Luka's dad is pissed. And he's saying that Luka didn't deserve this. And I'm not saying he did. So I don't want you to get hurt when I say this. But Dallas won this trade because of, in my opinion, 3 reasons. 1, the first reason is Luka and Dallas was way too comfortable based upon the relationship and the cachet he had built with Mark Cuban.
Isn't that a good thing?
It's a good thing when you are trying to produce a work environment that's not toxic, but it's a bad thing when you're trying to produce a work environment that's challenging. So Luka wasn't being challenged to be his optimal in Dallas.
I agree with that.
He was very comfortable with being able to say, I'm Luka. What are we talking about here? You know what I mean? And I think that was creating a major divide within the Dallas organization.
You know Mark Cuban had nothing to do with this.
Yeah, I know. That's the reason why this trade happened. It's because Mark Cuban has nothing to do with this. Because he sold his majority, right? It's not a coincidence that once Mark Cuban is not the majority owner, something like this can't even happen. Because if Mark Cuban was the majority owner, he would have fired Nico for coming in asking him about trading Luka.
Yeah.
He would have just fired Nico on the spot.
Yeah.
Like, get out. You're fired.
Yeah.
We'll figure this out, but you just came to me and asked me to do the stupidest thing ever, right? So that's the first reason why, because Luka was unwilling to be challenged. Second reason is he was never going to fix his issues of conditioning in Dallas, because once again, he was the man. And he was already looking at all the success that he had created, formed, and had, being the guy that he was, drinking, eating the way that he was eating, and coming into the season basically getting in shape during the season rather than coming in shape.
Even though he doesn't look like it, man, he's still in shape, dude. He'll drop a 30-point triple-double.
Well, yeah, he
plays in the summer overseas. Like he's all around always conditioned, even though he doesn't look like it.
He's an NBA athlete, so of course he's in shape. But we're talking about,
if it's that serious about conditioning, I mean, bro, your coaches can always tell, like, he's a human. You can always tell the guy, like, yo, you gotta.
You can, but that doesn't necessarily mean that guy
But
wants
it
to
doesn't matter
listen.
because it's Luka Doncic.
I understand
It
that,
doesn't matter. He's
but
Luka. At the end of the day, he's Luka Doncic. He's dropping 30 points.
but that's exactly why he gets traded. Because my last reason is the deficiencies of what Luka brings to the table will always keep you from being able to win a championship. Because your best player is not active enough. He doesn't have to be good enough, but he's not active enough on the defensive side of the ball. So he doesn't create enough impact plays defensively to offset all the defensive issues that he brings to the table by not being able to guard guys one-on-one, to be able to sit down in a chair and keep guys in front of him. That's not something he's good at, but he's also not good on the weak side and making sure that guys can't penetrate to the basket. He's also not getting enough steals and deflections throughout the course of the season. Yes, last postseason he was better at getting steals, but that's not normally what he does. He's also not a guard that gets a lot of blocks with the size that he has. So it's like a lot of the things that you could offset for not being a great one-on-one defender, he doesn't offer those things either. So really what you're getting is a one-sided superstar who, yes, can drop 40, can drop 30, can drop 50 at the drop of a dime, but he gives up so many points on the defensive side of the ball to superstar players that it's almost either a yield of just neutral or a net yield, because as much as he scores, he gives up maybe that and more from a Jason Tatum. Because when you guys watched the finals last season,
he doesn't guard the superstars though.
but when he does, it's always an easy basket. And teams game plan to say whoever Luka is guarding, that person will get the ball and attack. Attack Luka. Just attack him. Attack him, attack him, attack him, attack him.
That's how Boston won, man.
Exactly, that's how Boston won. Whether they score or not is not necessarily the issue. It's more so about tiring him out. Take his legs away so that maybe by the fourth quarter, he's not as effective.
Yeah.
And so if you're Dallas and even if you're short term, yeah, you're trying to win now, right? You're trying to win. Kyrie is there. Klay Thompson, you didn't bring Klay Thompson over there for no reason. And at the time you had Luka, so there was pressure to win. But when you're really under the pressure to win, like Nico feels like he is, or at least what he's trying to accomplish, you have to take everything into account. And for me, not only does Dallas win this trade in the short term, but they win this trade in the long term because of the fact that financially, you're not capped to paying a player that doesn't play both sides of the basketball. And you remove a guy with a lot of ego that may not necessarily be the best fit for the type of culture you're trying to implement going forward for the Dallas Mavericks.
But you can't say long term, that we're gonna be good. In a couple years, Klay, AD, and Kyrie are not going to be there.
Well, I get that, but by the time
we get that, we have the cap space to get more players, but we you never know who we're going to get.
No, I agree, but you also are in a space where you can now go find your next Luka.
There is no next Luka, bro.
I don't know that. It's not like Luka. It's not like Luka has won championships.
You said it's not like he won championships?
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting there.
What
if
I tell you that Luka has a better chance? Luka has a stronger chance to be James Harden more than he does have a chance to be LeBron James.
He could be LeBron James.
I don't think so. And I think that's what the premise of Nico and this whole thing is just that, in my humble opinion, Luka is James Harden 3.0. So like he's better than James Harden, so he can get you to the finals. Because James Harden never got to the finals, except with the time he went with Russell and KD.
You think if he stayed on the Mavs, he would win a chip?
No.
Luka?
No.
Yes, he would.
I don't think so.
Luka would win a chip.
No. Because he doesn't play both sides of the ball. And that is a requirement.
Neither does Curry.
Well, Curry, what I said was, can you be active? and Curry is active.
Yeah, but we've seen that. I understand there were moments last season where Luka had very inactive moments. Even
A
there,
lot of inactive
yeah,
moments,
that
coach.
I did say that, and
And Curry
even
tries
in the finals, yeah. Now now
more
he's
now more than he did before.
exactly.
But he
But
tries.
when they were winning championships, who were they attacking? Stephen Curry, right?
Yeah.
Kyrie hit the game-winning shot over who? Stephen Curry. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, he was the liability on defense.
And he still is the liability, but he's way more active than Luka.
Right,
So
but
that gives you
we've seen that if you could get Luka to play defense on a more consistent basis, he could be a great defender because he is 6'8". He
Right.
is a bigger guy.
Yeah.
He knows how to anticipate because of his offensive mind. He knows pretty much kind of what the setup a player is trying to go to the basket. Able to steal the ball, like JJ said, he was averaging two steals per game.
Right.
His defensive rating this season at least is 110. That ranks not too bad. I mean, John Morant's at 110. You know, you've got other guys that are around that area, so
No,
it's like
I get you.
you know what I mean. So I think. I understand the whole narrative with Luka Doncic not being a good enough defender or not wanting to be a good enough defender, and that's why Dallas made this move. But I believe, man, they had one outing in the NBA Finals. Like, I think there was no doubt in my mind that they would at least have made another deep playoff run this year had everybody stayed healthy.
Or the next couple of years. There's no doubt they would have had a finals appearance.
And
again.
I think Luka's the type of guy that's going to learn from his mistakes. I think he's going to understand he's got to take more accountability in this defense thing. And play more defense. I truly think he would.
He wouldn't have done that in Dallas because he is the man. Now, I think the best thing for his career is that he has got traded because now he understands that his deficiencies as a player cost him $110 million and cost him the opportunity to stay where he wanted to stay. So now this should make Luka Doncic into the player that Dallas was hoping that he could be. Now, LA will get him, but the whole time in Dallas, they were trying. They were trying to tell him, can you play more defense? Can you get in better shape? Can you stop coming into the season overweight and stuff like that? They were trying their hardest.
See, that's what the stories in the media said, but he came out publicly and said that those are just false.
Well, of course he's going to say it's false because that's the accusations against him.
But again, why is the media so quick to hop on, you know, these stories, these narratives, like just real quick to compare with the NFL, like the whole Chiefs thing with the refs. Why is the media so willing to kind of accept that as truth when it's technically not truth? You don't have truth. It's the same thing with the Luka situation.
Well,
Can we
it's
see
not
what he weighed in at workouts, at training?
Yeah,
No.
that's what they were saying. I think the difference is that this has been a conversation that they've been having about Luka for the past 3 to 4 years. This isn't just something that they're saying based upon just doing this trade right now. They have been talking about this being an issue in Dallas for the last 3 to 4 years, from Brian Windhorst to Stephen A. Smith to...
You're talking about the problem of weight or trading him?
Just the weight, just his issues with weight and fluctuating and not always coming into the season at his peak, at his most optimal. It's not saying that he's coming into the season 310 pounds. That's not what they're saying, but they're saying, like, we know that he could be coming in at a much better position, and he's just not doing the extra work, and we need him as our best player to go that extra mile, to do the extra work, because as he goes, we go. And they were trying to say this to him for the longest, but because of the relationship and because of the cachet that he had, he walked around as, like JJ said, it's Luka. And as long as he can walk around going, I'm Luka, who the are any of you to tell me what to do? How can any of you, who in here is Luka? Raise your hand. That's how Luka is talking to everybody in the office.
I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Trust me.
He does not have that big of an ego.
Okay, all right. If you think so,
he can't, because how would he be good on good terms with Kyrie? You know, Kyrie's got a big ass fucking ego. Then how the hell would two big ass egos be able to have such a connection that they have?
Because they're kindred spirits. Birds of a feather flock together.
Oh my god,
they're kindred spirits.
That's funny.
So they understand each other. That's why one of them had to go. And the one that didn't go is the one that will at least be active on defense. Is Kyrie a great defender? Fuck no. But he'll be more active. He'll try harder. And sometimes you just need your superstar to set a tone and trying harder. The same way Steph Curry is never going to be a great defender. Nobody is here going, Steph Curry should be first team all defense. If you said that, you don't know basketball. And I would tell you to get the fuck out of my face.
Mm-hmm.
But Steph Curry tries. He actually tries. And if you can tell your bench players or anybody else on your roster, if you see Steph Curry trying to play defense and doing this, I dare any one of you bitches to not play defense. I dare you. I dare any of you. But you couldn't say that in Dallas. You couldn't tell guys, I dare any of you motherfuckers to not play defense. You couldn't do it because they're looking at the film and they're watching Luka just be Luka. But enough of Luka because we got to move on.
Yeah.
We want to get into another big trade that happened, and this hits me more. I'm feeling like JJ with this one. So this one hits me.
Yeah.
And yesterday, or was it 2 days ago?
2 days ago.
2 days ago. So Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Monday, I'm thinking things are okay. I'm thinking things are cool. It's my off day. I'm just relaxing and chilling. And then I hear some terrible news, Coach. De'Aaron Fox has been traded to the San Antonio Spurs.
Well, that's not terrible
But
news.
that's not bad.
No.
But then I scrolled into my notification a little bit more, and it says, along with Zach LaVine. And I said, what the fuck? Where is Zach going? And then I look into it, and it says Zach is going to Sacramento. And then I'm like, okay, let's relax. Let's relax. Let's relax.
Mm-hmm.
What did the Bulls get? And I'm looking.
Yeah.
And I look at it, and it says Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, Zach Collins.
Kevin Huerter is tough. He can shoot.
He's shooting his worst this season ever in his career, and he has been actually on a trajectory for the last 3 years. He's been going backwards from what he was in Atlanta. So don't do this to me right now.
Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter,
Zach Collins, and our own fucking pick back.
Which that pick was the one we traded to
For
get
DeMar. So I want to play a clip really quickly because
Our guy got featured.
I
fellas.
made the TV, guys.
Yeah,
I made TV.
he sure did.
I made the TV. So I want to play this clip because I was so adamant about how I was disgusted with this trade that I had to ask CHSN and Chicago Bulls reporter Casey Johnson a question about what the hell the Bulls were thinking about this trade. And he was actually able to find my question and give me an answer. So I want to play this clip.
All right, welcome into another edition of a Bulls Video Mailbag. This is episode 4, and I got to say there were so many great questions this week. We had to limit it to 4, but keep them coming. We'll get to you next week. First one comes from Coach M. Got It. KC, with the Bulls already trending in a situation where they were in position to keep their 2025 pick, why wouldn't they just wait the season out and trade Zach LaVine in the offseason for a potential better deal? Was it really that important to dump his salary? I mean, obviously there are always financial considerations to any deal, and this does give the Bulls some financial flexibility moving forward. And I understand this side of the argument, you know, because if they could control their 2025 draft pick by just being bad the rest of the season. But here's why I think they did it now. First of all, it removed the distraction of this just hanging over the franchise. Not that Zach wasn't handling it well, because he was. However, this also gives the Bulls certainty moving forward because they now control not only their 2025 first-round pick in what is considered a strong draft, but also their 2026 first-round pick in what is considered a strong draft as well. Potentially, you play the season out, keep the draft pick, and then try to trade Zach in the offseason and maybe get a little bit more value, but then you're still not guaranteed keeping that 2026 pick that is would just been shifted to the Spurs to next season. So I understand why they did it now. And I'm told there are actually 2 offers there, Wayne. One was from Milwaukee. I think we can all surmise that maybe Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis, who have been dangled in those trade talks, was in that rumor. So that's one potential offer there, Wayne. And they obviously chose the one where they gained certainty over their draft picks moving forward. And I can understand that if you're entering a rebuild. You want draft assets, and the Bulls have them now.
So, first and foremost, I want to thank Casey Johnson for even finding my question and responding to it.
Yeah.
And I think he picked my question out of maybe 4 or 3 to 4 others because it was clear that my question had some topic depth to it. So I want to thank him for that. And I want to respectfully say to Casey Johnson, while I understand that he is a beat reporter for the Bulls and he has to cover them daily and he has a job with them, I want to respectfully say that I appreciate his political answer, but that is a bunch of bullshit to me. A part of his statement in saying that they didn't want this distraction to hang over the Bulls' head is like, are you fucking serious? This distraction has been here the moment you signed him to that max deal.
Yeah.
From the moment the fucking ink didn't even dry after he signed that contract before there was conversations about the Bulls potentially moving Zach LaVine. The ink couldn't dry from him signing that contract before. So you've been holding this distraction for multiple seasons now, and you pick now to trade him when he's playing his best and has gotten back to form? Okay, so that's the first thing. Cool. Then you say, well, they want to maintain, or, they could have just tanked the season, but, they don't really want to do that. How? How do they not want to do that when you telling me that you could have got Chris Middleton and most likely Bobby Portis from Milwaukee for Zach LaVine? But you didn't do that trade because guess what? Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis coming back to the Bulls will actually help you do what?
Win. We don't want to do that.
So we don't want to tank.
No, let's get this straight.
But we don't want to tank though. That's what they're saying. We're not trying to tank.
No.
That's not the purpose.
we don't
just want to be in the middle?
No, JJ. The real fucking answer is they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yep.
That's the first full answer. And the second answer is somebody in the organization has decided either one or two things. The profit margin won't change whether or not we have Zach LaVine on this roster or not, but more profit can be made without his salary, or they've decided that they don't want to build a team around Zach LaVine. And for that, I say, okay, if that's the ground you are making, and if that's the bed you're laying in, let's say this. You had Derrick Rose, and you failed to build a team around him to win the championship. Now, he got hurt, but you didn't stick it out with him when he was the hometown hero, and you traded him to New York. Okay, 0 for 1. You got a diamond in the rough in Jimmy, and you watched him blossom into a star-level player. And then John Paxson went up to Jerry Reinsdorf and said, I don't know how to build a team around Jimmy Butler. I think I'm over my head. 0 for 2. You get a star or another diamond in the rough in Zach LaVine, who, by the way, when we traded Jimmy Butler, the Bulls didn't even look at Zach LaVine as the key piece to the trade.
No.
You know who they thought was the diamond that they were looking for?
Lauri Markkanen
and Chris fucking Dunn.
Yep.
Chris Dunn. I remember.
Chris Dunn, coach. That's who the Bulls were really after. Zach LaVine was just an add-in for the contract filler.
Yeah.
For salary filler.
Athleticism.
Yeah, he wasn't even supposed to be anything to them.
No.
But then he turns out to be the entire thing out of that trade. And you failed to build a team around him. Then let's look how you did it. You got him Lonzo Ball, which everybody said was a good deal because we needed a point guard. You got him a stabilizing center that can help spread the floor and work inside in Nikola Vucevic. You had Thaddeus Young at the power forward position, who was coming off one of his better seasons with us, and he was a vet mentor to Zach when he was in Minnesota. And you traded that for a wing player who isn't even a real small forward and is the same size and height and almost plays exactly like Zach LaVine, except he can't shoot from the three-point line, and DeMar DeRozan. And you thought that was going to be a great pairing. Because once again, the Bulls front office is stupid as shit and don't know anything about basketball.
Yeah. And now they're playing together in Sacramento.
And now they're playing together in Sacramento. So think about how DeMar has fucked us twice. You traded Raw.
Yeah.
You traded for us the first time. You traded for him the first time and gave up picks. That 2025 pick. You gave that up to San Antonio with protections for it to say that if we didn't land top 10 in 2025, we couldn't keep that pick and it would go to San Antonio. Or San Antonio could wait to 2026 if we land outside the top 8 and they can get that too. So you traded those rights to San Antonio for DeMar to fuck this team up and have 3 bad seasons of where we couldn't even get to the playoffs except the first time when we had Lonzo Ball healthy for half a season. And then you ended up trading Zach LaVine to get the same pick back that you traded away for DeMar DeRozan, who is also no longer on your roster.
Mm-hmm.
Great job. We have the greatest fucking front office in all of sports.
You know what we do have? Certainty.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like
I do just want to add, because I definitely agree with you on your points. As far as just the whole discourse that has occurred ever since, we made the max contract extension to Zach LaVine, which I thought was the right deal at the time. I thought he was worthy. He was an all-star.
Who were you going to replace him with? That was the real question.
Who else were you going to pay? You know what I mean? Who? I think we went wrong in getting DeMar and getting rid of Thaddeus Young. He played like a fucking baller when he was with the Bulls. He fit in well with Zach and Vooch at that time. We didn't have Lonzo yet. Lonzo was signed in the offseason. We got DeMar. So, I mean, with how the team was when Zach came on, and then when we got him Vucevic and we saw some potential
of a 1-2 punch and how they were playing, they were really good.
Yeah, it was really good. And then, you go out and get a ball dominant, forward who really should be a guard, but he doesn't play defense like a guard, in DeMar DeRozan. And it's like, well, what the fuck are we doing? And I think it's so notable, that before our game yesterday against the Miami Heat, so on Tuesday, Billy Donovan had his media time with the press, and essentially, they were asking him questions about the Zach LaVine trade and whatnot, and this is what he said, and I found this really interesting when he said this, and very alarming as well. He said, "Clearly, we're making a shift. I want to be a part of building something, but what direction are we going in, and how are we going to build it, and what are we going to do? I don't think anybody inside the organization has those answers right now, just because I don't know if anything is totally complete at this point."
Basically, he's saying
they don't know what the
fuck they're doing.
That is so problematic.
That is a political way to say exactly that. That is a very political way to say they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
And you know what? I know we've had our fair share of dislikes and negative comments or negative talk on Billy Donovan's coaching.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he walked into this Chicago job with the vision that he was going to coach a team with Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Vucevic, and now he's coaching a team with no Zach LaVine, no DeMar. Vooch might be out the door. Lonzo just came back healthy this year. I mean, you've got some pieces in Kobe, Io, not even Patrick Williams, Modest now.
Yeah.
It's so problematic, and it's like, you gotta feel for the guy at some point. You know what I mean?
No,
I think when this team was healthy, and in complete full force of what it was supposed to be, we were number 1 in the East.
Yeah.
We were on a 9-game winning streak. Billy Donovan wasn't a concern. Billy Donovan was looking like a great coach.
Yeah.
But then, naturally, as things fall apart, it's going to be harder and harder and harder to sustain that success. And, of course, it takes a great head coach, not just a good head coach, to be able to make something out of it. But man, I felt like it was damn near impossible to make something work with just Zach and DeMar on a long-term standpoint.
No, I agree with you. I don't think Billy Donovan was set up for optimal success, especially after Lonzo went down. There was never a plan to replace him.
No.
And we've been small on the front court for the entirety of Billy Donovan's time here. We have not addressed the power forward position at all in a sense of getting somebody to help Nikola Vucevic get rebounds and help protect the paint.
Yes.
We've been super small as a team. We've been playing 4 guards all season damn near. So it's like we haven't really put together any type of formidable plan. This front office has been very, very dumb, porous, making terrible decisions. I mean, we let Alex Caruso go for just Josh Giddey, and Josh Giddey is asking us for $30 million a year, and he can't shoot a fucking 3-point shot to save his fucking life. So it's like, what are we doing here? What the fuck are we doing? And then you're having conversations now where they're trying to say, well, the Warriors have backed out of Nikola Vucevic, so Vucevic might end up staying. And then we've been hearing calls about Lonzo all season, but, we're actually starting to think that, we should hang on to Lonzo. Hang on to Lonzo at this point for what?
Yeah.
For what? To play with Kobe fucking White? Give me a fucking break.
Right. And I think as we're mentioning this and they're talking about and KC kind of talked about when you're trying to start a rebuild, you want certainty. Well, yeah. I kind of want to go to the graphic, graphic number 8 here, Bulls sentiments from just within the Chicago Bulls community. I believe this is on Bleacher Report.
Yeah.
Fuck a rebuild. Learn how to actually build.
Yes.
Like why keep trying to rebuild if you can't just build something in the first place? And that's a problem. And and just really quick, like I think it's so crazy that when AK and ME, Arturis and Mark Eversley came into came in as the front office, we were like, man, surely it can't get worse than Garpax.
And it has.
Gar Forman and John Paxson. It is nearing very fucking close to being there.
No, they're worse.
And
they're worse.
It might be.
They're
it
worse.
might be right
They're
there.
actually worse.
And it's so fucking sad. Like there were so many high hopes, and it looked great for the first 2 years when they get Levine was becoming a star. They got him Vooch, right?
Yeah.
And then whatever. They get DeMar, they get Lonzo, they get Alex Caruso. The team looked great, first in the East, and then now it falls apart. They don't know how to fucking come back from it. They don't know how to build anything, and it's so fucking frustrating as a Bulls fan. Like,
yeah.
We keep trying to rebuild when we can't establish anything long-term in the first place. Look at the success that Miami has had for years on end. They have consistency. They have reliability in the coaching staff and in the front office. Like, when's the last time you heard about front offices being changed?
No, they have competency.
Exactly.
And my whole thing about this is, like, they're doing this trade and acting as though Zach LaVine put them in the best position to build for their future. And my whole thing is like this. He's your superstar player. You can sit him down and have a conversation with him and say, hey, Zach, let's come over here real quick. Man, we got a chance if we teeter this line this season to keep a top 10 pick and potentially find ourselves somewhere between 1 to 7. What's some players that you like in college right now that you think could be beneficial and helpful to this team to help you? A young guy that you think will be able to come into the mold now that you got Boozy, now that you got Kobe will still be here. What's a young guy out there right now that you think could be a great addition to this team?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you work on rebuilding this team around Zach. You tell him basically like, hey, let's play hard. Let's give Kobe some chances to really shine, and let's see if he can win some games for us. And if he can't, we're okay with that because we want to teeter this line of the play-in and do both at the same time. And then when the play-in hits, you do what you're supposed to do, and let's try to make a run in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you shave points or you throw games. It's just more so like you let the other guys play harder than you that night, and let's see if the young guys can make it happen. But what it appears to me is just that, or you have injury issues. Because, the NBA loves putting guys on leave or D&D.
I mean,
or
Kevin Durant suddenly has an ankle injury.
And Kevin Durant
talking about trade talks, right?
certainly all of a sudden has an ankle injury.
Yeah.
So it's like, at the end of the day, there's ways around being able to facilitate this, and it just feels like to me that the Bulls are just fucking dumb. And that's why Billy Donovan said what he said as far as, guys, we could have accomplished this. If this is what we're trying to accomplish, we could have accomplished a 2025 pick with Zach LaVine on this roster. We could have done it. Or we simply could have traded the young pieces that we know ain't gonna be fucking superstars, and package them to get us a Zion, a Brandon Ingram, somebody like that to come in to where your 2025 pick won't even be that big of a fucking deal because you got somebody that can complement or can give you the compensation that you would have got from a 2025
and if
draft.
anything, trading for a guy like that is certainty.
Yes.
You know what the guy is in the NBA versus playing the lottery, because that's what the NBA draft is.
Yes.
It's the lottery.
Yes.
There's no certainty. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I don't care how good they're making Cooper Flag out to be or Ace Bailey. You don't know how good the kid's going to be until they get to the NBA. Yeah. We've seen that in Caleb. We've seen that in Drake May. We've seen that all across sports. We've seen that in the NBA now, right? Where even certain guys, that were top picks in the draft from this last draft aren't even getting that much bump because they're simply just not there. Zach Risacher, or Risachet, however you say it.
Yeah.
He was the number one pick. Am I right? I mean, does he look like a number one pick from
not
years
right now?
past? You know what I mean?
Nope, nope. He looks like one of those number one picks that'll turn out to be an okay player.
Yeah, that's what I think too. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, well, number one pick. This guy's generational. He's from overseas. He's this. He's that. My ass, he looks like just another fucking,
Now, he could turn into that, but as far as right now, he ain't. No. And most of the time, if they don't come into the league looking like a generational talent, like a LeBron, a Derrick Rose, a Ja Morant, a Zion, Anthony Edwards, if they usually don't come into the league looking like that, they usually don't become the generational talent. Right. It did not take Kevin Durant long to be Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, it didn't take Luka long to look like Luka. So if you're not getting, if that guy doesn't look like that, he most likely won't be that when he comes in, when he finishes his career in the NBA. But I want to pivot. Let's pivot to the NFL. Because if I keep talking about this, I'm eventually going to get loud, and I can't get loud anymore.
Real quick then. Just want
to say who won the trade.
Spurs or the Kings?
Spurs won the trade.
I think so too.
The Spurs won the trade. What do you say, JJ?
Yeah, I think the Spurs. I think De'Aaron Fox and Wemby are going to match up really well.
Yeah. Although I do think the Kings did a pretty good job. I know they're pretty much establishing kind of like that old Bulls look with Zach and DeMar.
Yeah.
Kind of just that same Bulls team. But at the same time, they did get 3 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks along with Zach LaVine. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty fucking crazy.
And the Bulls got their own pick back.
And three role players that aren't going to play a single minute. Probably.
And you think you're hurt? At least you got Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a first-round pick.
Right. And that's so crazy. Like, real quick, like, the magnitude of this Luka trade, like, I don't think Dallas Mavericks fans will ever be able to appreciate Anthony Davis's, like, greatness and what he's going to bring to the team simply because of how scarred they're going to be from Luka. Like, they'll never be able to appreciate what they have now until it's gone.
But y'all didn't do this shit.
Hell no.
Y'all didn't do this. The fuck?
Bulls have been like that for a minute. I'm not gonna
yeah. They've been a piss poor franchise for the entirety of their existence. If it wasn't for Michael Jordan, the Bulls would be the cocaine Bulls.
The cocaine Bulls.
They would be the cocaine Bulls if it wasn't for Michael Jordan. And the more I'm starting to accept that, the more I realize, like, oh, this is just really who the Bulls actually are. They are just a piss poor franchise who just so happen to luck up and get the greatest athlete in NBA history.
Yep.
That's it. Okay.
Let's go ahead and pivot to the NFL.
Into the NFL. Myles Garrett.
He's going to be a Cowboy.
Myles Garrett wants out of Cleveland. And the question is, where do we think he'll go? There's a lot of conversations about Commanders because they have the ability to compensate it because they already got the quarterback. They got somewhat of an offensive line. They have the flexibility to give up some first-round picks and they got cap space. Another team has been the Chicago Bears. But I'm not sure if the Bears should be in on Myles Garrett with the needs and the requirements we have on the offensive line. I like Myles Garrett, but if I'm giving first-round picks up in this draft and other drafts, that means I can't get Will Campbell and I can't get other guys that I feel like will be top-line offensive linemen. Unless I know for certain that I'm adding my offensive lineman in free agency and the draft is not about identifying offensive linemen, then that conversation for the Bears is different. If I look to sign offensive linemen in free agency, then fine, fuck it. I'll trade these picks because I get Myles Garrett. But if I'm not going that direction and I'm actually trying to draft offensive linemen in the first round, then I can't give that up for Myles Garrett. But What do we think about Myles Garrett asking out of Cleveland, and where do you think he will potentially end up if Cleveland even entertains trading him?
I think Cleveland will entertain it, just because of the state of their franchise at the moment.
And how much help they need?
They're at the number
Yeah.
2 pick. Like they're in such a downward trajectory. I mean, maybe soon they'll be trending upwards depending on who they get in this draft. It's either going to be Shador or Cam Ward, right? Probably one or the other. I'm going to assume. And I think this was just a long time coming ever since the Browns started sucking again. Like, I mean, last year they, pause. But last year we were hearing talks about Myles Garrett possibly being on the move, kind of being hinted at. Usually that means sooner rather than later, we're going to hear about it more officially. This is the official part, right?
Yeah.
And I found it interesting when Adam Schefter was on the Pat McAfee show that when talking about Myles Garrett and rumors, the first team he brought up was the Chicago Bears. And me personally, and I know a lot of people will probably be like, well, the Bears do need edge rusher. They do need this. They do need that. Myles Garrett's a great edge rusher. He's a hell of a player. I don't think that's what the Bears need, though. I don't think we need a trade because it would at least have to be somewhat of like a Khalil Mack type of haul where we trade 2 or 3 first-round picks and multiple other picks.
Yeah.
And possibly some players. Like, I don't want that because I believe I trust in Ryan Poles in drafting through the draft. He's shown competency in putting together some solid draft classes.
Yeah. And the staff that they're putting together is supposed to be a staff that not only has experience, but they have expertise in development.
Yes.
From the defensive line coach to the offensive line coach to Dennis Allen. Like every single staff member that's a part of this staff is experienced, but their expertise is not only just they've been coaches, but they have high ranking understanding and high ranking analytics in their ability to develop players, and you see it in every place that they go, how this player got better, how this system got better, how this defensive line was able to get more pressures, blah, blah, blah. You're able to see that with every coach, their measurables and their ability to develop. So I'm with you. I don't think the Bears should do it. My only concern is that I think they will. Because if you get a new DC, he wants to make sure that he can be as aggressive as he wants to be.
That is very true.
And if you are trying to make sure at least you can come in and make the impact that you need to make while you're still getting this offense figured out, what you believe is that you get Myles Garrett to compensate for the learning curve that the offense will have to have, but it won't be the Khalil Mack situation because we have a quarterback.
Yeah.
And I can see the Bears. I can see the Bears taking that gamble, and I also can see the Bears saying we have enough cap space that we can go and sign the offensive lineman that we want, and the draft is not where we're looking for that.
Yeah, see that's the thing. Like you mentioned, it would either have to be we trade for Myles Garrett, we sign a couple of guys in free agency, and that be it, or we draft, right? We go ahead in the draft O linemen, and then we could focus in free agency possibly elsewhere. Or, maybe not as many O linemen as maybe, if we make this Myles Garrett trade, we wouldn't have to entirely focus on O line and free agency. Compared to if we just draft, right? You get a Will Campbell, you get a Calvin Banks, you know what I mean? Like you could get a solid guy if you do that, and then be able to shift your focus to other positions as well. Because I think the 3-tech position is one that the Bears desperately need.
They already passed on Jalen Carter.
I like Andrew Billings, but man, like he's a big boy in the run game and whatnot, but we need a guy that I think could just bull rush that center and knock him over every fucking time.
Get in here, JJ. What you think? Where do you think Myles Garrett is going? And talk to the people.
Well, he already said.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to go to the Commanders, either them or I heard something about the Titans.
He's not going to the Titans.
I don't know, but
I heard you say Dallas. What made you say that? Was that
I'm just throwing it in there.
Okay.
But
Michael for Myles Garrett?
I was talking to my friend the other day. Huh?
Michael for Myles Garrett?
No. I was talking to my friend the other day, and he was telling me that the Cowboys have -2 cap space.
They do.
Like,
They don't have the money.
So he was telling me Myles Garrett will have to pay them to
play for them.
play. And I was
Yeah,
like,
because they don't
that's
have
not
the
happening.
they
But
don't have the money. But I, if you're asking me where he realistically goes, I think it's the Commanders.
and
I can see that.
You
happening,
said
too.
you said there's a possibility he goes to the Bears, but I think the Bears should just focus on their O-line right now.
Me
honestly.
too.
Yeah.
They need to focus on their O-line.
Me too.
And then-
They already
and
have
then-
a good defense.
And then if you want to get edge, you get it in the draft.
Yeah, there's a chance that instead of trading for like a Myles Garrett, maybe you move up in the draft to get
Abdul Carter.
He's
He's a fucking stud,
I
man.
feel
Yeah.
like drafting edges in a draft is better than drafting O-line.
no.
O-lines are
I
hit
would,
or
I would,
miss.
everything's a hit or miss. It's a draft.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is just that here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say this. If there is a bona fide offensive lineman in the draft that you just know you can't pass up on,
Yeah.
then you have to get him. But if you're asking me as far as who would I rather draft versus who would I spend the money on, I think I would rather take my gamble on drafting an edge and spending the money on a quality offensive lineman, knowing that I know what I'm gonna get from them.
Yeah.
So if that's the debate, if that's the
I see what you're saying.
if that's the question that you're asking, then yes, I would argue that if I'm having to gamble between paying for an edge rusher or paying for a solidified offensive lineman, I would pay for the lineman and take the gamble on drafting the rusher, the edge rusher.
I agree with you.
So in this
wholeheartedly.
sense, for the Bears, I'm thinking O lineman. If you're gonna take a gamble and move up in the draft, get Carter, and then spend your money on the offensive line.
Yeah, I think and we'll break down Bears draft possibilities in a later
We will,
episode.
we will.
But I think one of three things is gonna happen. I think we're gonna take offensive line. I think that's number one. I think number two is that we try to move up, or God knows Abdul Carter moves down in the draft. 3, we might fuck around and take Genty at 10. And I don't know if that's a good move or not. I still don't know, but I think it's a possibility just because
I think Genty is coming to Chicago regardless because Ben Johnson needs a running back.
But I think I think Genty's gonna end up going like 20s. I don't think he's falling to the second round. He'll go first round.
He will.
And I think this is a draft where the Bears do take a running back as well.
Yeah.
Even if it ain't Genty, they might take Quinshon Judkins.
They're gonna take somebody.
The Ohio State.
Yeah. All right.
Let's preview the Super Bowl, man.
Let's get into our halftime predictions.
Yes, sir.
Our halftime predictions. The Super Bowl.
Real quick.
Super Bowl 59. Super Bowl 59 is coming. It is this coming Sunday.
Yep, the 9th.
And we said that we were gonna wait because last episode we talked about we didn't want to give our predictions right then and there, but now it's time. I'm going with Kansas City. I'm going with Kansas City. And there's a couple of reasons why I'm going with Kansas City. One, I do think that they're going to find a way to neutralize Saquon Barkley. Not in a way of keeping him from still getting his yardage, but they're going to keep him from making those home run impact changing momentum type of plays that deflate a team's momentum or deflate the defense. Saquon is still going to be Quan, but it ain't going to look the same like it has been throughout the course of this playoffs. They're going to find a way to keep him from being that home run type of running back that's just doing whatever he wants and making it just look crazy. Patrick Mahomes is going to show up, and all of a sudden, the Kansas City Chiefs is going to have an elite passing attack. DeAndre Hopkins, Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, Hollywood Brown. They're gonna figure it out in this Super Bowl. Just somehow they're gonna figure it out in this Super Bowl because I don't think the Eagles secondary has been truly tested the way that they're gonna be tested with this Kansas City Chiefs passing attack and the weapons that they have all the way around. And so I see the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Eagles in decisively fashion, and it's gonna shock the world how they do it.
Interesting.
That's what I have, and that's what I believe.
Okay. JJ, you could go ahead and give your prediction real quick.
I hope it's a tie. I'm joking. I don't like either teams, but I do think the Chiefs are gonna win. They're already used to Super Bowls. Been there many times. They played the
Philadelphia been
Eagles.
there 2 years ago.
Yeah, with the Chiefs, and they lost. I mean, you never know. Jalen
He's
Hurts.
a Dallas fan for real.
Yeah.
He's
Jalen
a
Hurts-
Dallas fan.
Jalen
for
Hurts
real.
might pull it off with his vengeance. He might have that motivation coming into this week, but
Why do people think revenge is a greater motivator than like history?
I don't. I
don't understand why people think that.
That's how he thinks.
I have a chance to submit my name in the stars, bro. In the beyond the stratosphere. You just here for revenge, dog. We're not on the same. This is not the same game we're playing, bro. It's not the same game.
Hey, but I'll tell you this: if Saquon plays like Saquon,
it's gonna mess up the Chiefs.
The Eagles will win.
Yeah, because if Saquon can be the home run hitter and the deflator, and he can keep time of possession and keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline, then that's the Eagles' formula to success. But I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I could see this game definitely playing out similarly to the way you mentioned. I do think since the playoffs have started, the Chiefs have shown who the Chiefs are. They've shown that offensive attack. They've shown that they can now pass the ball consistently and efficiently. They've showed they could get the ball on the ground, get the run game going as well, run some boot off of that. I'm telling you, Andy Reid's got plays cooking up that they haven't ran all year, and they're going to run just in the Super Bowl. That's how deep this shit runs for Kansas City. And, for Philly, I think I still think you make Jalen Hurts play quarterback, he will not win you the game. He will not win you the game if you make him play quarterback. We've seen that in this whole playoffs and throughout the whole year that Saquon Barkley and his explosive plays have been the reason why Philly has been so successful this year and have had some consistency on the offensive side of the football. Granted, their offensive line is the best one in football as well, right? And I think, just speaking on the contrary to the Kansas City O-line, I think that the Eagles front four, front seven could give Kansas City some problems. I think they could disguise some blitzes.
Yeah.
Kansas City has had some problem picking up blitzes this year, and even in one-on-one trench game battles.
Well, this is where Trey Smith makes his money.
Yeah, but I mean, they're gonna move Jalen Carter all around that front four. I mean, they've got their edge rushers. Like, I think they're gonna be able to get to Patrick Mahomes. I think it's a matter of, is Andy Reid going to be prepared for that? And my answer is yes. I think he's gonna have a lot of quick game installed. I do have the Chiefs winning this. Patrick Mahomes getting this three-peat. I think it's inevitable. I think it's the right play for the NFL as well, because we know the NFL is a business at the end of the day. They're a money-making machine.
NBA and NFL.
Right. And I think Nick Sirianni is going to walk out of Louisiana with a price tag on his head.
Who?
I think Nick Sirianni.
Oh.
I think Philly's going to be so fed up with him and Jalen Hurts, all the Jalen Hurts haters, because he does have D1 haters. Let's make that clear. He does have D1 haters, absolutely. All right,
you think,
and I am one of them.
Yeah.
So you think if he loses this game, if the Eagles lose this Super Bowl,
bro, motherfucker, they went how many games did they win this year? 13?
Yeah.
Bro, like halfway through the season, they were calling for this guy to get fucking fired, and they had a solid record. I think they were first in their division.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how brutal Philly fans are. That's why Philly fans don't deserve shit.
Yeah,
they don't deserve anything.
You don't know about Philly fans?
That's why I'm glad the 76ers suck, because they don't deserve shit. You guys had AI. You guys did not treat him right either. All right, when you guys didn't treat that whole situation right. I mean, I saw nasty clips after that Philly Commanders game of Philly fans just trashing and getting physical with Commanders fans. When Commanders fans are walking out of the building taking their L in peace. It's very nasty. And Philly deserves an ass beating on fucking national television.
Yeah, I want the Chiefs to win. I want the Chiefs to win 50-0. Let's go Taylor Swift. I can't stand Philly fans, man.
I know.
Oh, we know you don't, man.
I did not know it was gonna take that turn, and you got so real passionate. Like I was not expecting that. That was so wild. I mean, like, I don't want Philadelphia to win, but it's not necessarily because of I didn't know it was gonna take a turn like that. I will say this though. I'll just say this. I do believe it just depends on how they lose.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if it's down to a field goal, Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts can walk away from this and people will just go, fuck it, it's just the Kansas City Chiefs. But if they get their ass beat, then yes, I can see fans being like, get them the fuck out of here. But I always think it's about how you lose versus just losing in general. So we'll see.
Because they will lose.
I think they'll lose too. I think they'll lose, but I do think that they're going to lose in decisive fashion.
Me too.
Like I do not think this is the Super Bowl that people think is going to be. Like everybody's thinking, like, oh, it's going to be a real good one. This is not going to be the classic Super Bowl that people thought the first one was.
Yeah,
between Philly
their
and
matchup
Kansas
was
City.
good.
The first time.
That was a good one.
This ain't going to be that.
It's going to be 35-14.
Yes. Kansas City is about to put belt to ass. Belt to motherfucking ass is what is about to happen from Kansas. And people just don't know it yet.
Yep.
But yeah, JJ.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining our show,
No
brother.
problem, man. It
Thank
was
you
a
for
pleasure.
joining.
Thank you guys for
Appreciate
Thank
having
you
me.
for joining. We're still sorry about you losing Luka.
Yeah, we feel for you. We pray for you.
First, it's Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. Now it's Nico Harrison and Miriam. I don't even know. I don't know why Mark. Like,
all
so
right.
to
everybody that's been watching and listening, we still want you guys to remember to like the video on YouTube, to comment, and to subscribe to our channel.
Yes.
It helps us a lot. Share everything that you can with those that you love and even the ones that you don't, because they may not love you, but they might love us.
Yeah, probably.
Jacob _ABUSAAD. That's it.
That's where you want them to follow you at?
Go
on
ahead,
Instagram. Yeah.
Come on, man. Say it more lit than
be
that.
proud,
Come on, man.
man.
Be proud of where you want them to follow you. Tell the people. Don't look at me.
Yeah, right.
Look at the people in the camera and tell them where to follow you at.
Jacob _Abusad on Instagram.
Spell Abu size so they know how to spell it.
ABUSAAD.
Okay. All right.
Boom.
That's where you can find our man JJ at.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Once again, this has been another episode of the Halftime Podcast. As always, you know this is Coach M.
This is Coach Konrad.
And as always, you know how it go. See red, bear down, baby, and fuck the Packers as well as the Cowboys.
Yes, sir.
What is it?
I said fuck the Cowboys too.
Bro.